Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Married at First Sight season 15 episode 7, I think. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. We're gonna start with Lindy and Miguel. Lindy does not like talking about decision day because it stresses her out.
Decision day is a trigger word for me.
Right. I'm not looking for an out. I'm not looking for an end.
So then why bring up decision day?
So we're not going to talk about decision day at all.
No.
Miguel is absolutely looking for a way out. Absolutely. He might not want to take it, but he wants to know that the option is available, you know? The way that I see their perspectives is like she sees this as a true marriage, legal and everything. I mean, yes, it is legal, but she's like, no, this is my forever person. Whereas Miguel just sees this as an experiment. They do the whole apartment tour thing. Miguel's apartment is really nice. He takes this moment to showcase his Dungeons and Dragons collection.
These are my Bibles.
Serious. That's a little too sacrilegious, but I'll allow it.
Oh my god! What are you doing? What is your alter ego?
It's Bear Man.
I just don't connect with that kind of nerdy, you know, the Dungeons and Dragons, the costumes. She finds it endearing, however, let's hope that lasts. Miguel swears up and down that, hold on, did we see Lindy's place? I don't think we did. Okay, moving past that. He swears that he's not a skeptic, he's not looking for a way out, but Pastor Cal's visit proves otherwise.
My friends refer to me as a doormat. I open up to let them know that I'm leaving, and then they always respond, why are you telling me this just now? I think I'm hesitant because I was committed, but I didn't have that feeling of being in love.
If you're going just based off of feeling, like, say goodbye, because every time we're gonna be in an argument, what, is he not in love with me anymore?
Lindy is absolutely right. Especially in marriage, love is a choice. You have to make a conscious decision to be present every single day. Every single day, because life happens. If you're gonna go off of feelings, one day you might feel one way, the next you feel another way. You can't just keep determining how you're going to act in a marriage based on the feelings of the day. They change. There's even seasons where you're unhappy or super happy. You're going to divorce over, you know, a little blip in the marriage. Come on, Miguel, that's weak. I do, however, agree with him when he's saying, I don't know if I'll be able to not say something when I'm feeling like pulling back. I don't think that's necessarily bad. I think it's a nice way to kind of gauge where the marriage needs attention, you know? Because if I don't say anything about like, I'm feeling like we have an issue here and it's kind of making me pause, then you're thinking, hey, okay, totally forgot what I was saying, but now you see why it's taking so long to get these videos out this week. Yes, so with Miguel, I feel like pulling back isn't a good thing, but communication that you feel like pulling back is not that bad, because then in your marriage, you guys can sit down and say, okay, how can we attend to whatever this issue is so we can rectify the situation, instead of just holding back, not saying anything, and then just being like, yeah, I'm done. You didn't even give the marriage a chance to fix itself. Next, Kristin and Mitch, Mercy. And she says she's glad that her marriage didn't start great.
No hard times. Like, that's not the journey that I want and that I think is right for us. I'm just like really happy.
Babe, I mean, come on. It's one thing to have little tips about how to squeeze the toothpaste out of the tube, or should we wash dishes as we go or at the end of the night? You know what I mean? Like, those are things that I can understand. Okay, we didn't have a great start, but we're trucking along. The man had to be hammered to want to be sexually attracted to you. I wouldn't count that as something to be excited about. Now, to add to the absolute disappointment that is Mitch, this apartment, guys, I literally have no words. How are you going to live in this environment, this nasty environment, and have the audacity to be as entitled as you are, Mitch? How? It blows my mind that the audacity of straight white men in society. I'm sorry, I had to go there, because there's no way There is no way you live in these conditions, yet you want to be a Karen/diva, like just this combative kind of person. And it's like, how dare you? Look at how you're living. Kristin also lives in a very cramped space. She has a studio apartment, and like, it's not even super cluttered, but it's a really tight space. And on top of that, she has a dog. I don't know if the dog is super high maintenance, but it has a lot of ailments.
She snores, she deep breathes, she's got asthma.
Yeah, just the breathing. I mean, you kind of prepared me for it.
I did.
Is that like just when she's excited?
It's when she's stressed.
God forbid, child. It could not be me. It really couldn't. Mitch says that he's never been in love as an adult. Doesn't surprise any of us. So in an attempt to work on the love between the two of them, Kristin creates these like relationship coupon things.
One day where you decide what we do and I say yes to all. One free bubble bath with wifey expires tonight.
Bye, Luna.
Bye, Luna. Don't miss us.
She is really trying to expedite the physical connection between them. And if y'all remember, she said that her deal breaker is no sex before decision day means divorce. So I'm not surprised that she's trying to push the sex narrative along. When Pastor Cal visits them, they do say that they have consummated the marriage. I feel like that was premature for the two of them, but they are adults. They can do what adults want to do. However, up until this point, they haven't talked about life past decision day, let alone a week from now, which means finances they haven't tackled, children they haven't tackled. They've tackled nothing.
Ideally in the next couple years.
Okay. I'd want to start in the next year. I always dreamed that by this point I would at least have one child.
I mean, let's just deal with the realities. Like you said, you're 41. Do you have any other prospects? Act like you're married.
Kristin, like, we know at this point she's really desperate for marriage no matter what it looks like, but I'm sorry. To die on this hill for Mitch, never that, sis. Never that. It's okay to say, yo, I came in this with the best of intentions. Clearly, I didn't find something that works for me. I'm gonna call it. To force this relationship to work is so painful to watch. Morgan and Binh are next, and Binh's frugal Freddy antics have begun.
What time do you normally do laundry?
Usually when I like wake up the next day.
4 to 9 is peak hours. Yeah, you get charged the most for that. And like the same with like funky faces. It's San Diego, so probably till 6. The sun's up, so we can't turn all the lights off until then.
I am showering with the lights on. Thank you.
Baby, if you broke, just stay there. I'm joking. Listen, I used to like not understand why my dad would always be turning off the lights and whatever. He is an immigrant. I share that immigrant history like Binh does with his parents. But as an adult, having to pay my own bills. I started at, when did I move off campus? Like maybe 19 years old, learning to pay my own bills. It's painful. I feel like Binh is a little overkill, but also I understand. Morgan's apartment I thought was very nice. It was pretty standard, nothing super extravagant, but not like a crapshoot, like what's his name? I forget his name already. Mitch. But Binh is really showing his immaturity, because why did he ask if the cat will be on the same peeing schedule as him and Morgan, the same way women sync up their cycles? Pastor Cal visits. I wish he put his foot on Binh's throat more, but he didn't push. I feel like, Pastor Cal, you missed the mark here. Anyways, he asks about the argument that they had on the honeymoon.
Look it up online. I got the whole thing.
I trust you.
We had promised each other not to talk about finances or family on the honeymoon, and we sat down, and that's the first thing he talked about.
I apologize for that, for being judgmental of your past. It's not fair.
Why didn't he ask about the probing questions that Binh had for her in regards to her having student debt and her coming from a broken home? Because let's be honest, a lot of those things are very common for a lot of people. I don't come from a broken home, but I do have student debt. Somebody might have the vice versa. Somebody else might have both. To judge somebody for something that is unavoidable and inevitable for a lot of people, like, if you go to school, unless you really came from an affluent family or you're just that good at money management, it's likely you're gonna have student debt. So to guilt her for it, I was like, that is very low of you, Binh. And then to also make it seem like her coming from a broken home is an issue, as if she can do anything about that, is also an issue. And I wanted Pastor Cal to talk about it, and he didn't. He also asked, how is the trust between them? And Morgan says, it's broken.
You let someone in and they break your trust. You let someone in, they hurt you.
The other side of the apology is forgiveness. Not only forgave the act, I forgave the actor.
Come on, Pastor Cal with the bars. Okay, bars. I also want to add that a third component of all of that, I think it was forgiveness that he was talking about, or trust building, whatever. The third component is change behavior. And so Binh needs to understand that not everything needs to be taken and reported to people outside of your marriage. You need to handle it in-house, or maybe get an unbiased person. However, I feel like that's not going to be the case, because we forget this man is a mama's boy. Maybe y'all didn't forget, but I did forget for a moment. And I had to remind myself, because he might not spill to another person in the experiment, but he's definitely going to spill sensitive information to his mother. Morgan also shared that the lack of trust that she has now for Binh has stifled their physical intimacy. However, now that she's forgiven him, she's a little bit more open.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Dude, no, you're gonna YouTube affection? No, talk to your wife.
I don't even want to see any kind of frustration coming from Pastor Cal, because y'all did not counsel these people before going into marriage. Why are you now shocked that this man is going to outsource how to be intimate with his wife instead of just ask his wife? He's not ready for marriage, and you guys didn't vet him well enough to know that. The next couple is Alexis and Justin. Alexis has been talking about her dog majority of this episode, so it's no surprise to us that she holds this dog very close to her heart.
Newton is God's gift to this earth.
What is Newton? A creature?
My child.
Obviously, this is going to be some foreshadowing, okay? It reminds me of people like Haley or Jasmina or even Zach, where if their dogs aren't happy or things aren't going well for their pets, it's going to have an effect on the marriage itself. I did not remember Justin living in a studio apartment, but he does. It is very cramped in there. I honestly don't understand how he lives there with 2 pets.
Bedroom, living room, kitchen.
The small space is not compatible with my living style. Where the gym, where the pool, where's the other room?
In the matchmaking special, he did say that he's willing to be in an uncomfortable space until he meets his partner so that he can expand for her. You're too accommodating, Justin. Like, certain things you should do for your own pleasure, like for your own happiness. Say you never find a partner. Like, I know that's what he wants, but God forbid, say he never finds a lifelong partner. You're just gonna live uncomfortably for something that may never happen. Like, treat yourself sometimes. Look out for yourself. Advocate for yourself. So speaking of pets, Justin and Alexis's dogs are not getting along.
Typically, you're supposed to give them time to come around so they get used to each other. You want to say hello to Miss Maya?
It's okay.
No, I can't lie to you. I'm not very keen on animals, okay? That's just how I was raised, even though now my parents have dogs and I'm like, merp. Okay, that's a plot twist. But this situation, it would have pissed me right off. Even though I don't see dogs or pets as children, that is very traumatizing. What just happened was actually very traumatizing. It was hard for me to watch, right? And so I can understand Alexis's frustration, especially because she raised a concern. How are we going to integrate the dogs into each other's lives? Justin played it off like it was nothing. Clearly it was something. So it turns out Alexis's dog did have to get stitches and is now wearing a cone for a week. Maya, Justin's dog, has been sent to a training camp for 2 weeks. We later on find out the reason why Alexis was more annoyed with the situation was because Justin was telling half-truths.
Maya had been in several fights with other dogs prior to this, because that would have been a red flag for me.
But it wasn't relevant, though. Those dogs were in the wrong, or they'll be antagonizing her. I feel like I'm telling her the truth, like I'm not intentionally lying to her. I think I'm vague and I don't realize it. I just felt like I should have did something about it because it could have cost me my marriage.
If you knew your dog has a history of being aggressive, that is something to say. That is something to bring up. There's no way that your dog just because if you were paying attention to the episode, there was growling happening from his dog even before anything happened between them. And Newton, I think that's the name of Alexis's dog, didn't really do anything. So your dog is an antagonist, okay? Just accept that, Justin. But then also I have to say, the crying. Maybe this is something that I need to work on myself, but I have had enough. I've had enough. It's 11 days of marriage. He's probably cried for 8 of them. Your emotions are like that on the surface for anything and it's too much for me. But he's not married to me, so hey. Last but not least, we have Stacia and Nate. Stacia's apartment is giving grown sexy. Oh my gosh, like goals. Okay, goals for real. She says that she wants an espresso. Nate calls her a diva for it.
Let's really break down if this $700 investment is actually a real investment.
Okay.
She is truly a diva.
It's an investment. I drink coffee every single day.
Clearly looking at her home, I feel like she can afford it. Who are you to now police her funds? You said you wanted a boss babe. Good luck trying to tell a boss babe how to manage her money. Nate's apartment, however, is nicer than I expected.
It's like just kind of disorganized in there. It's a little dusty and his plant is dead. Water spots there. There's no towels or anything. Pretty gross.
Ma'am, have you seen Mitch's apartment? Not to say that Nate's apartment was anything spectacular, because definitely let's clean up around the house. Let's throw some things out. But baby, if I were you in this experiment, I would count my blessings. You could have been matched with Mitch. During Pastor Cal's visit, they both share that they are content with each other's income. However, Nate says that financially he needs to be in a better place before considering bringing children into the scenario. She said she makes almost $500,000. I think you'll be fine. I think financially you'll be okay. Also, to my knowledge, I feel like a lot of her finances are passive. Like, she has a lot of passive income from real estate and investments. So even if she was to get pregnant and maybe be out for the count for however long she wants to be out for, it's not like you're going to be solely reliant on Nate's income, right? So I actually think they're going to be okay. In another relationship, maybe I could see his concerns, but definitely not in this one. They talk about they talk about physical intimacy, and Stacia says that the hang up is the lack of emotional intimacy.
You want to see more of his soul.
Right.
You know, it takes time to tell many stories and everything.
Like, I want to know, like, pretty much everything that you went through as a child. How did you feel? Like,
I hear what she's saying. I do. However, I feel like she's a little bit too intense. She wants to know this man's deepest, darkest secrets, but isn't really a safe space for him to do so as of yet. Those things come from friendship. It comes from time spent. It comes from building trust. And she wants him to divulge all of these traumas, but he's not quite safe with you yet. I will also advocate for her and say the little conversations that they have had that haven't been too deep, Nate has fumbled the ball at every corner. It seems like he has his initial thought. She'll say what she actually expects. He'll amend his statement to fit what she wants, right? And so I could see the concern for her. Is he getting deep? Is he being vulnerable? Is he being true and honest? But she's asking for a lot. They later on have a similar conversation, just the two of them, where she's asking for more vulnerability, but baby girl, that is earned.
you're here, and I want you to be here. But sometimes I feel like you don't want to even say that there is pain there. For him to say that he understands me, I want to know, but how? Then it makes me question if he knows how to even be vulnerable.
I thought this was interesting. Y'all let me know how you feel about it, but I feel like they kind of handle trauma in different ways, but it leads to the same result. So she is on the verge of tears every single time they have a tough conversation. He is very calloused about his trauma, his past, all that stuff. However, at the end of the day, they both seem to not have healed. Or maybe like haven't yet taken the steps to get to healing. So I'm just like, I get where Stacia's coming from. Like, how can you be so closed off? How can you be so emotionally unavailable about these things? But girl, these things are bubbling up the surface for you as well. Like, y'all are both not healed about your childhood. We need to unpack that on both sides. Moving on to the after party. On the panel this week, we have Binh, Kristin, and Nate. Kristin says, obviously, Mitch knew that people were coming over, so this is how he presents his home even when guests are arriving. Oh, you guys. And on top of that, the nastiness does not end there.
We couldn't go to the grocery store that I go to. We cannot put the fruit or the vegetables into any sort of bag. He places them on the conveyor belt.
Kristin, at some point, it's delusion. You're delusional. Either that or you're too accommodating, because there's no way you accept all these things about me. Why? Why are we accepting this? Nate says that something that would put him off was showing up to his spouse's house that was not clean. However, his place was not pristine either.
Let's talk about these wine glasses.
Oh my God.
You were having wine with someone, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to relax. Sometimes I have my moments where I just don't want to do anything. I want to leave dishes in the sink.
I get not being a clean freak. However, dirty wine glasses that you decided to put back into the cupboard, that's a conscious decision. You're nasty. Keisha asks each person who in the experiment they would least want advice from. We only got an answer from Nate, and he says Justin.
I just feel uncomfortable with that, you know, because one day he's like really excited, the other day he's like really sad.
Same. I agree. Justin's emotions are unstable. They're a little erratic, and I feel like they're unreliable in terms of like going to him, saying what he says and applying that into my own marriage. He might say something different in 3 days when the circumstances themselves haven't changed. It's just his mood has changed. So therefore he's gonna approach things different. Nah, I would not take advice from Justin either. Binh says that his frugalness stems from being an immigrant.
Just my immigrant parents.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
the need to be financially free.
Where did y'all get these suits from?
Top secret.
We're gonna return them.
You gonna return the suit?
Most likely.
Big facts. Big facts. As an immigrant, I totally understand. The scarcity complex is in almost all of us. Almost all of us. So I completely understand where he's coming from. It is still overkill though. It really is. He does say that Morgan's money will not be micromanaged. I don't fully believe that, but if he said it, we're just gonna believe it for now. Binh admits that he has a tendency to be impulsive, and that's how Morgan's secret got leaked.
I should have just kept it in-house. She's my wife. I should have kept whatever she said. I'm pretty impulsive, so Justin's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm normally pretty giddy. I was just overwhelmed, and I was just venting.
Binh also claims responsibility for his overreaction, Morgan's overreaction, and Justin's overreaction. I was with you with the two. The last one, you lost me. This man crying over your relationship has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing. He's got his own situation to deal with. He shouldn't be all up in your business. I'm sorry. And on top of that, like, this man was out here crying over Morgan telling a half-truth when you were telling half-truths yourself, Justin. I feel like Justin's friends and family coddle him. I don't know why, but that's the sense that I get. Let me tell you who does not coddle Justin. Nate.
You know, I was raised to not, like, to do my best to not get involved in other people's relationships. And on top of that, him not knowing Binh that well, I just think it's a little weird.
I agree. Worry about yourself. It's one thing to be like, to be asked for advice. He was asked, so I get it. But the way that he really took on the emotions that Binh himself did not have for his relationship, I was like, listen, you be too in people's business, please. Justin, mind your own. Kristin is asked about the coupons, right? And she basically says they were both exchanging gifts, and the gift that she got from Mitch was a necklace that he found.
No,
Tell me about it.
I think he found it. That's why I'm agreeing with you.
I was joking.
With the seashell hot glued to like a chain.
It's delusion. Guys, it's delusion. It is delusion. Somebody needs to check on Kristin and see if she's okay, because the wires are not connecting. Furthermore, it turns out that their sex was subpar. This man is barely a minute man.
You know, I think that there's time to work on things to be a little longer.
So you mean to tell me his D game is weak? He is unsanitary. He's a Karen/diva. He's rude and disagreeable. What is the allure, Kristin? What is the allure? I'm gonna need you to start being honest and stop faking the funk for the cameras, because babe, you are not happy. And if you are, we need to check you out as well, because there's no way you're pleased by this man. And there's no way you can actually walk into the streets and claim this man as your husband and be proud to say so. Nah, I could be projecting, but I feel like most of y'all will feel the same way. Anyways, that's all that I have for this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.